Hello and welcome to another edition of UFO Video Addicts. Let me give you a preview of what I got coming up in this video. The first is this video that was just recently released by Dr. Stephen Greer, A Cosmic Hoax. Now, of course, I can't really play any of it, but just want to play a short portion. Let's see. Also have this video. I've played this video before, but again, I'm sure, not everyone saw it when I originally posted it. So we'll look at it again. But we have this little cloud-like object floating around the sky. And let's see. This video here is a breakdown of some UFO sightings. It has a clip of a video that I have also posted recently, but it adds other clips, and it just shows how these little objects are accelerating out of frame. Let's see. This is a very interesting 2.5-hour interview. I listened to the whole thing. Very, very interesting. This is, one of these reporters who used to be a skeptic, but, now based on all of the information that he's been presented with, and I think, he's also been told some information that he wasn't allowed to reveal. He's now a believer, but still, I don't understand how any grown adult could have gone through life not believing in UFOs. That still just baffles me. Anyways, let's see. This is an old video from 1992, which supposedly shows a couple aliens in the snow. I know this looks kind of like a E.T. Elliott phone home, but anyways, let's see. I have this video here of Luis Elizondo talking about an incident that David Fravor discussed when the military went to retrieve some kind of missile that they had fired off, and as they were retrieving it, something from the bottom of the ocean took it. Let's see. Also have this document here from the NAA. And it talks about how, the U.S. military has been studying UFOs since at least the 1950s. Yeah, so, when you hear all of this talk about, all of these people talking about, we don't know what they are. We know they're out there, but we don't know what they are. Again, those are complete lies. There are some people within our government that do know exactly what they are, or what some of them are. Again, there's that one video where the guy talks about, from Stephen Greer's Disclosure Project, when he talks about our government has categorized at least 57 different types of species and 70 different types of craft. So yes, they do know what some of them are. Let's see, here's an article here, which basically confirms what I always have said, that, these aliens are living on our planet, on underwater bases or civilizations under there. This is a video about a new species of hominid that was discovered in China. And then last is when, this video has nothing to do with UFOs, but it's about this, this pitcher plant here. Let's see. Yeah, this giant pitcher plant, and how it caught a mouse. And then, this is what's left of that mouse. But anyways, let's go to this first video here. I can't play too much of it, but this is, very interesting video. Let me just play you something that Stephen Greer says here.
We take all incursions into our operating spaces seriously. Like everybody else here at the Defense Department, certainly we are taking the entire matter seriously as it regarding the potential for.
Let me just real quickly stop there and say something here. This guy is lying. Okay, anytime someone has to interrupt his speech that often, obviously he's parsing his words. He's very careful. He has to think about everything before he actually says it. So he's lying. He's lying. He's lying by omission, but he's lying.
For safety concerns.
One of the most brilliantly subtle disinformation techniques currently being deployed against the people of Earth is this air of phony agnosticism that has been generated surrounding this issue.
Do you believe that they sincerely don't know what these things are?
They don't. We have the best military on planet Earth, the greatest intelligence agencies. These are true unknowns, and they were swarming our military arsenals. They're seen over nuclear facilities. This is documented. We need to find out who is operating these vehicles.
Yeah, Jeremy Corbell is full of shit right there. Again, and you know, I have to believe that he does know that, you know, based on all of the people that he's talked to, they've given him information. And the fact that he's also being invited on to all of these national television shows tells me that he's been vetted, that he's allowed to go on those shows because he's going to maintain the government-approved narrative.
There's a certain studied agnosticism that the media is allowing to come out through these ufologists. For example, Nick Pope.
I mean, we are under siege. It's like there's a war of nerves going on. And if this was drones belonging to a foreign adversary, there would be an absolute outcry. And yet, the situation we're in, that we don't know what these things are, and they might even be extraterrestrial, that's worse. So I agree with Luis Elizondo on this. This is a potential catastrophic failure of intelligence.
The same thing with people like Chris Mellon. Whether he's been paid or not, he will get up there and say, well, we don't know what these are, we need to study them.
There's a vital national security issue, which is that our sovereignty is being violated by vehicles of unknown origin.
Okay, now one thing, you know, that you can see in this video, and it's something that I'm just now coming to realize, that there are actually two different factions within our government that have taken up upon themselves to engage in this disclosure project thing, you know, that again Stephen Greer talked about. But you know, in this video, you'll find out that Greer, is accusing people like Nick Pope, Luis Elizondo, Christopher Mellon of being government disinformation agents, which I do agree with. Stephen Greer, who's from my perspective, is also a government disinformation agent, because he's not giving us the complete truth. You know, when he tells us that these aliens are all good, or that the abductions are all just being conducted by the military, you know, I got to call bullshit on that. I mean, I do believe that, yes, that some of the abductions were being conducted by the military in order to dilute the validity of the actual abductions. But this notion that there aren't any bad aliens out there is ridiculous. So I think, both of these groups, I find both groups are telling half-truths and telling half-lies. And also, both groups are withholding lots of information. So, you know, again, some of this information that Stephen Greer has released in this video, and some of the things that he talks about, like the whole notion that, you know, that there's going to be one group that wants to militarize the whole thing and you know, try and create these aliens as our enemies so that they can spend money in the military. I agree with that. But I don't agree with everything he says. From my perspective, both Greer and Elizondo, who again have admitted to working for the government, are both disinformation agents. So anyways, yes, you know, that's all I want to say about this video. Let me move on. Let's see, this video here, watch this thing. Let me go full screen. You know, this is a graduate from the filmmaking school of vertical cinematography, but he does catch something interesting. Watch this little cloud here.
It's crazy.
He says that he's seen some lights glittering inside of it, but watch it, like it basically like takes flight. You're right here.
It's a fucking cloud with lights in it. Moving weird. I've never seen no shit like that. have the sparkly lights in it. I've never seen no shit like that. Moving weird.
You see, to me, this would be evidence that our neighbors obviously monitor us using cloaked objects, cloaked UFOs. But anyways, check out that video. I can't play the whole thing. Let's go to this one here. Yeah, now this one here, it just compares a lot of these video footage of these objects, how they accelerate out of frame.
Who researchers say wanted out of the public spotlight. Watch this accelerating UFO, which in slow motion doesn't look like a missile or known craft. Nor does this, which moves like the one in Walter's beach video. Here's a similar one in a third clip. It shows the craft becoming a silver streak, zooming away.
Yeah, that instant acceleration is, I call that a UFO maneuver. Yeah, we definitely don't have any drones that can do that. And, these videos is from 87 to 93. But anyways, check it out. Link will be in the description. Okay, now this video here, 2.5 hours. Of course, I can't play the whole thing, but I just want to play you one little clip here when he asks one of his editors, why wouldn't they ever run UFO stories, and listen to his response.
You don't talk about sexual relationships outside public life. And the other really huge taboo that I discovered was UFOs, that nobody is meant to report on this subject. And it's funny, as part of my research, I tracked down a few of my former editors and executive producers, and I said, can you remember when we had that conversation about UFOs? Why did you say to me with a giggle, oh, let's not go there. What else have you got, Roscoe, when I suggested a UFO story? And one of them had the decency to say to me, I don't know. And it's funny you should say that. I don't know. I just feel that we're just going to get bollocksed if we do a story about UFOs. And I go, well, why? I said, I can tell you, the science is overwhelming that there's something here. It's real. And it's funny, but I won't name the editor involved, but they looked very embarrassed and decided clearly that I'd gone bonkers. But it's interesting. There is still an enormous stigma surrounding this subject, and it continues to this day, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It does still continue to this day to a certain extent. But I also find it very interesting how people censored themselves. And I think it has something to do with, what was revealed in the Lacerda interview, where there are some humans who are programmed or brainwashed to automatically discount any discussion of UFOs. And again, it's generally people who are in positions of power and authority who have the ability to make those decisions that prevented, a lot of this information from going out. And also, we now know that the CIA had I think it was called Operation Mockingbird or something like that, and Coin Intel Pro, where they put people, CIA agents into newsrooms and other media organizations to make sure they monitored, any of the news stories that were going out. Yeah, so this whole idea of, ridiculing UFOs and ridiculing, conspiracy theorists, that was all created by the CIA to detract people from getting too close to any truths that they wanted, or any secrets that they wanted to maintain. But anyways, let me go on to this next video here. Yeah, now this video here, it's I think it's real. I mean, as ridiculous as some of these images look. Yeah, so this apparently happened in Canada someplace. But look at those long, spindly arms. Elliot, phone home. I don't know. I can't play the whole thing, but I get the impression that this is real. As again, as ridiculous as these images look, I think it's real. Anyways, let's go on to this video here. This guy's he's a government employee still. Now, of course, I believe that this story is true, but yeah, I think, my issue with Elizondo is he's not revealing the entire truth. Obviously, you hear all of the, all the shows that they go on. They always talk about how all these UFOs are around our Navy ships coming in and out of the water, but they just won't make that additional jump or conclusion to say, well, if they're coming in and out of our waters and we keep seeing them around the ocean, they must have bases down there or have civilizations down there. None of these people are even going near that idea. They completely stay away from that idea. But also something that I've noticed is only some of them want to deflect and make you think that, this is something from outer space. But some of them are dancing around the idea that these crafts are coming from our planet, but they don't want to say it. They just don't want to say it. But I get the information. Maybe it's confirmation bias, but I think they do. I think they do.
You have a helicopter going out of a Caribbean island on a regular basis because the Navy likes to test fire some of its cruise missile technology and whatnot. And what will happen is that after the cruise missile runs out of fuel, it kind of splashes into the ocean. It will sink, and then at a certain time, it kind of rises up, and we go and fetch it. And we analyze it for telemetry and things like that. Long story short, helicopter crew goes out to recover one of these things. As they are recovering it the first time, the missile, they're pulling up and something, what was described, round and circular, about the size of a small island, black, dark color, starts rising to the surface. It doesn't break the water, but it starts rising to the surface. They thought, wow, that's really, really peculiar. Well, the next month goes around and they go out to retrieve this another missile that was test fired. And this time we've got a frogman hanging down from the rope about to latch onto the missile, and this thing starts coming out of the water again. And if you know about the Puerto Rican trench out there, you're talking about water that's 22,000 feet deep. It's the second deepest part of the ocean. The thing starts rising up, and as the thing is starting to come to the surface, the frogman is literally trying to climb the rope. They're doing an emergency ascent. Everybody is absolutely panic at the disco, freaking out. What the hell is that? What's going on? And as they start to pull up, it sucks the missile underwater and then disappears, never to be seen again.
Okay, so here he tells you that the first time they saw the object, and then a month later they see it again, right? And then he mentions how that area of Puerto Rico is some of the deepest parts on the planet, but he mentions nothing about the possibility that that's where they're coming from. None of them will acknowledge that. Even, with in this video here, Leslie Keene, I respect, a lot of the work that she's done, but she too is playing stupid, because I'm positive she knows this information. Yeah, it's all of all the people that she's talked to, that they've told her that we're not alone on the planet, but she won't reveal that. Which again, that I think that's one of the reasons why they're allowed to go on, these shows, because they've just they know that they can count on them to maintain the approved narrative. But let's see. So anyways, yeah, this here is from the NAA, right from the government source, but it talks about how our government has been studying these UFOs since the 1950s. Here, early analysis of UFO reports by U.S. Air Force intelligence indicated that real phenomena were being reported which had flight characteristics so far in advance of U.S. aircraft that only an extraterrestrial origin could be envisioned. A government agency which later events indicated to be the CIA Office of Scientific Intelligence, OSI, I think that was the precursor to the CIA, studied the UFO reports with the intention of determining the UFO propulsion methods. At that time, OSI was responsible for intelligence on foreign research and development in nuclear and missile matters. The CIA became alarmed at the overloading of military communications during the mass sightings of 1952 and considered the possibility that the USSR may take advantage of such a situation. As a result, OSI, acting through the Robertson Panel meeting of mid-January 1953, persuaded the U.S. Air Force to use Project Blue Book as a means of publicly debunking UFOs, and at a later stage to allocate funds for the Avro Advanced Saucer aircraft and the launching of a crash program into anti-gravity power. So yes, right, according to these official government documents, we have been studying them, and we have also been working on our own anti-gravity craft. So yes, some of these craft that we are seeing are definitely U.S. military. But anyways, check this out. Let's go to here, another article here about Puerto Rico, biggest hub for UFOs, undersea alien bases, and shocking NASA UFO footage. George Martin is one of the few investigative journalists who spent a whole life studying the UFO phenomenon. He has been investigating the UFO phenomenon and extraterrestrial activities in Puerto Rico and the Caribbean islands for more than 30 years. For years, different anomalies have been spotted in the skies of Puerto Rico, including crafts emerging out of the clouds. Martin is famous for the alleged UFO sighting in El Yunque Forest in the 1990s. Okay, so this guy's been studying these for 30 years. Okay? Yet we are not alone on the planet, folks. Right? There are several. Again, according to Linda Moulton Howe, there's at least 3 competing species, advanced species on our planet. And there's definitely, there's 4 different species of Bigfoot that we know of. I think, it's going to start being revealed that there are species of aquatic humanoids. But yeah, there's a lot out there that, again, I've had to rearrange or reevaluate or reconstitute my belief system whenever I'm presented with facts. And also, I'm also a type of person where I don't believe everything is just necessarily black and white. I can discern, I can parse what a person says. If a person makes 10 statements and 9 of those statements are lies, but 1 of those statements are truths, I can say that. I can say, well, you had 9 lies, and okay, 1 of them was true. But I'm not going to just, if someone says something, just completely discount them because they made a mistake. If they made a mistake or lied about 1 or 2 things, I'm not going to discount everything. I'm going to take everything they say individually on its own merit. But I believe that's just called being discerning and being critical. But anyways, let me go into this new video here talking about a new human ancestor discovered in China. Let's check this out here.
Sometimes the only evidence creatures walk the earth, the fossil record is a lot less complete than you might think. Now obviously, we can't know exactly how much we don't know, but the sands of time have certainly left many of the species that have died off truly wiped out. However, in the past couple of weeks, a new player has entered the game. A skull from one of our ancestors, and it may be one of the closest members on our family tree. The skull's backstory is actually pretty interesting. It was first discovered in 1933 by workers building a bridge in a province that's name translates to Black Dragon River, which gave the specimen the nickname of Dragon Man. Since China was under Japanese occupation at the time, the laborers wrapped it up and hid it in a well. The skull was initially rediscovered in 2018 when one of the laborers told his grandson of its location. The family was eventually persuaded to donate the bone to science. It was not until 2021 when they were able to thoroughly test the skull without risk of damaging it. Now, the skull in question is the longest found of any human-related species, measuring in at 8.7 inches tall and 6.5 inches wide. The researchers studying the skull place its owner as a male who is under 50 years old at the time of his death. The skull itself is estimated to be, at a minimum, 146,000 years old. The species has been named Homo longi after its impressive length. What's far and away the most fascinating about this discovery, however, is that the researchers in possession of the skull have stated it to be more closely related to modern humans than even Neanderthals are, suggesting that our current understanding of human evolution may not yet be fully complete. But I think the reason I find this so fascinating is that if we're only just now finding this...
Here's one question that I've posed to a lot of people in anthropology groups and other like genetics groups, and I always get the runaround, or I'm always told I don't know what I'm talking about. But everyone knows, right, that before a butterfly becomes a butterfly, it's a caterpillar, right, or a worm, or whatever. Or before a moth becomes a moth, right, it's a caterpillar. That's common knowledge, again, right? I mean, I think once you go to school and you learn that, right, it becomes common knowledge. I think if you go to any culture, right, you know, before a butterfly or a moth becomes a butterfly or moth, it's a caterpillar, right? That is called common knowledge. Well, if evolution were true, wouldn't the species that Homo sapiens evolved from be common knowledge? You know, shouldn't I be able to go ask a sixth grader what the species that we evolved from? And they should be able to tell me. I should know that, but I don't. I've posed this question. People say, oh, it's a Homo habilis. Oh, it's Homo erectus. Oh, it's Neanderthal. No, those are all separate, mutually exclusive species, which is why they have their own scientific name, right? And so again, if someone wants to provide me with that answer in the comments, that'd be interesting to hear. But I don't think it exists, right? I don't think that there is, that science has not been able to find any species that came before us. We have found species that lived alongside us, like the Neanderthals, the Denisovans, the Homo floresiensis, and now this additional species, right? We all coexisted, but we were separate, mutually exclusive species. So, you know, what is the scientific name, like of the species that evolved into Neanderthals? What is the scientific name of the species that evolved into Denisovans or Homo floresiensis? You know, what were the preceding species, right? Again, we did not evolve from Homo habilis or Homo floresiensis, or Homo erectus, or any of those other hominid species that exist in the fossil record. Those were all mutually exclusive species that they all themselves went extinct. So, again, what is the what is the scientific name of the species that evolved into Homo sapiens? Like, okay, what came before Homo sapiens? Anyways, check out that video. And then last, I thought there's just a very interesting video here. It shows this some kind of a pitcher plant. But they say this plant ended up catching a rat or a mouse. And then after a few months, that's what was left of this rat. And then, you know, he talks about how this plant, after it caught that rat, that it just started to flourish and really grow huge. And I find that pretty fascinating how, you know, the molecules, everything that made up that mouse or that rat was broken down and converted into a plant. And I think that's it's pretty wild the way, you know, nature and our world works that way. But anyways, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed things like this. If you do, please give this video a thumbs up. Please share this video. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I'll have more things like this. Take care.